Arriving in Madeira after a year locked in the UK, I was glad to see blue skies and feel the warmth of the sun. The bus to Funchal town was easy, and across the ocean I could see the Islas Desertas. The rest of the first day I got my bearings in the city and settled into my apartment. Then on the second day I set off to walk to Formosa Beach about 5 kilometres away. The walk took me to the hotel zone, then down to a beachside restaurant for a good local lunch of fish soup and homemade bread. The beach is made of grey volcanic pebbles and sand, and not too busy. At the far end was a beach club you could pay to get into, carved in the volcanic rock. My next day I decided to take the chairlift to Monte, a small district of Funchal set high on the hill. It's noticeably cooler than the warm city. I bought a ticket that covered return ski lift to Monte, then return ski lift and entry to the Botanical Gardens. The first lift whisked me high above the city and I could see great views of the coastline and the hills I was going up into. After a quick look at Monte I decided to go straight to the Botanical Gardens and get there early, then look at Monte more on the way back. A second ski lift took me over a ravine to the Botanical Gardens perched high on the hill. With wonderful views back across the city, I was one of the first in the gardens. Serene and empty, they were beautiful, and my favourite part was the cactus garden, like being in the Wild West. Returning to Monte by ski lift, there was now a choice of 3 ways to get back to the city. I could catch the ski lift, walk down the steep hill back to town, or go by road toboggan. That day I returned by ski lift, getting a VIP car. I came back up the ski lift on another day to look round Monte more, but you could combine this into one day. Close to the top of the Monte lift is the Monte Palace. This has beautiful gardens to look round, and art exhibitions. When I was there, they were showing an exhibition of carved African heads. The gardens have fountains, blue tile frescoes, and a small lake. At the top of the gardens is a beautiful Japanese garden, well worth the entry fee. On this second day, I decided to walk back to town. The route I took was very straight and steep, and a challenge to be walking at such an incline for so long. At the top of the walk, Toboggans kept speeding past me on their 10-minute trip down the hill. It took me more like 2 hours. The promenade stretches from the Park Santa Catalina in the west to the Fort São Tiago in the east. There are boat docks and gardens along it, and it's a pleasant walk, especially in the morning or evening. There's lots to see and some restaurants, where you can try the famous but evil-looking scabbard fish. In the centre there's a small but rocky beach. It's clean enough to swim and wasn't too busy. I went down there for a few morning swims. Walking west is the old town set back a street or so, and you can walk up the promenade and then back through the old town. In the evening there are many restaurants open, and the old houses are beautiful, and many have been painted with street art. Underneath the yellow-painted fort is a beach bar, and a small area where the locals sunbathe and swim from the promenade. The beach bar is quite hidden away and probably mainly used by locals. One day it had a DJ playing some pretty cool sounds in the evening sun. A couple of old dogs were hanging around, and you made your way in through some piled-up fishing boats and tarps. At the end of the old town is the market, and it's well worth a look around, especially at the fish hall in the back. I'd caught the local bus back from Formosa Beach to town one day, but still didn't know the island well enough to catch local buses out of town. I would have liked to have gone into the interior, but was a bit cautious about hiring a car because of the very steep and twisty roads due to the island's terrain. Then I spotted a bus called the Yellow Bus. It was designed for tourists and relatively expensive, but it made catching a bus a lot easier. There was a brochure showing the route and headsets you could listen to if you wanted commentary. I took it to the next village, Camara de Lobos, a small fishing village underneath Madeira's huge Cabo Gira sea cliff. The route took me through parts of the city I hadn't seen, and up and down some hills. Always away to the south was the beautiful blue ocean. The village was a pretty fishing village. Old men played cards, and in the harbour mouth 20 or so fishing boats bobbed around. If you had time you could continue to walk towards the huge cliff, but I was a bit pushed for time to get the last bus back. Having seen so much about Levadas, I thought I should at least see one. I found one up on a hill by one of the football stadiums. I walked on it a bit, but was feeling slight vertigo, though the water was running calmly. So then I walked down to the Lido by the coast. The Lido was built into the black volcanic rock, and ideal for families staying in the hotel zone. I took a few more photos of the sea, but now my trip was coming to an end. Back to the UK and a few COVID hoops to get through in the airport. Goodbye Madeira, I would like to come back.